Chapter 5 begins not with a fight, but with a storm. Rain falls on three very different minds: the assassin who thrives in it, the idealist who finds comfort in it, and the operative whose identity is about to fracture. In this chapter, every choice, every movement, every glance carries meaning. Who protects, who prays, and who will rise when the skies open. By the end, one decision will change everything, and the fight is just beginning. Chapter 5 opens immediately after the soccer club incident. We see Muyaki walking alone in the rain. He isn't rushed, he isn't agitated, he isn't hiding, he's calm, and that calm matters. The chapter makes it clear he is pleased, not emotionally unstable, not chaotic, but satisfied. He's already thinking ahead. His plan is simple: eliminate the team, then abduct Aoi. There is no moral conflict here, no dual purpose, no emotional attachment. She is the objective. The rain reinforces that mindset. In Japanese storytelling, rain often marks transition, emotional shift, escalation, or cleansing. But here, it does something more specific. It mirrors Muyaki's clarity. Rain blurs the world for everyone else. For him, it sharpens intention. Historically, Shinobi favored rain and low-visibility environments. Wet ground muffles sound, visibility drops, movement becomes harder to track. So his enjoyment of the storm isn't just aesthetic, it aligns with assassin psychology. The chapter doesn't tell us he's dangerous, it shows us he is composed before violence. That's what makes him threatening. And then the scene subtly pivots, because immediately after we see Muyaki enjoying the rain for calculated reasons, we learn Yodaka also likes the rain. Same weather. Completely different internal logic. For Yodaka, rain isn't tactical, it validates his worldview. He already believes the world is dark, isolating, heavy. The rain feels honest to him. It reflects his internal state. This creates the first structural contrast of the chapter. Muyaki thrives in external conditions. Yodaka finds comfort in emotional gloom. One is controlled predation, the other is damaged idealism. The rain is the same, the psychology is not. And that contrast sets up the core tension of the chapter. Who understands protection? The assassin who moves with clarity? Or the socially awkward idealist who wants to protect everyone? The chapter hasn't even reached Hibari yet, and already, the ideological battlefield is set. After establishing the rain contrast between Muyaki and Yodaka, the chapter shifts back into the school environment, and this is where something unusual happens. Hibari approaches Yodaka, not casually, not playfully. She locks onto him with a sharp, almost intimidating look, then pulls him away to a quieter space where they can talk privately. This is important structurally. Up to this point, Hibari has been composed, socially fluent, controlled. But here, she initiates contact, and not with Aoi, with Yodaka. That choice alone is revealing. If her goal is to grow closer to Aoi for the mission, why consult the most socially awkward person in the room? Because despite his rough exterior, Yodaka connects with people without trying. He doesn't perform, he doesn't calculate, he doesn't manage impressions. He just exists, bluntly. And Hibari recognizes that gap. Now the irony begins to layer in. As they walk through the hallway, students greet Hibari warmly. She is popular, recognized, approached with ease. Yodaka, meanwhile, fades into the background, barely acknowledged. Yet the socially celebrated one asks the socially invisible one, "How do I connect with people?" The chapter lingers on that contradiction. Hibari is not struggling with visibility. She is struggling with sincerity. The students' greetings show that her constructed persona works, but her frustration with Aoi reveals that something deeper is missing. This isn't about social skill. It's about emotional authenticity. And here we can connect directly to her name without drifting from the scene. Hibari, the skylark, is known in Japanese literary tradition as a spring bird associated with rising into the sky and singing freely. The skylark's defining trait is its song. It doesn't strategize its voice. It doesn't fabricate tone. It expresses. Hibari in this chapter is doing the opposite. She is trying to engineer connection. And that internal tension becomes more visible the longer the hallway interaction continues. Then the chapter reinforces the irony further. Another student interrupts, not to socialize superficially, but because she genuinely relies on Hibari. And we see that Hibari does connect. She just doesn't recognize it. Her frustration isn't that she cannot connect. It's that she cannot connect in the specific way she wants, with Aoi, under mission parameters. This distinction matters. Because at this point in the chapter, Hibari still views people through mission hierarchy. Civilians are background, targets are priority, team members are assets. Yodaka's philosophy in protect everyone clashes directly with that framework. And that ideological difference is quietly planted here. Hibari wants connection for tactical success. Yodaka values connection as protection itself. The chapter hasn't moved into action yet, but emotionally, tension is building. Hibari is starting to fracture internally, and when identity begins to fracture, that's when predators move. After Hibari's uneasy attempt at emotional problem-solving, the chapter pivots again, but this time quietly. There's no dramatic announcement, no ominous monologue, just subtle manipulation. Muyaki begins positioning the board. What makes this sequence effective is that he doesn't immediately attack. He doesn't storm in. He doesn't escalate publicly. He isolates. And isolation is a professional move. Instead of targeting Yodaka, who has heightened awareness, or creating chaos in a crowded hallway, he draws Hibari toward a locked classroom. One key, one entry, one exit, control. This isn't random violence. It's environmental dominance. In classical suspense structure, especially within Japanese storytelling, a confined space, mishitsu, serves a very specific purpose. It strips performance away. In the hallway, Hibari is popular. In conversation, she is calculating. In front of others, she maintains control. In a locked room, there is no persona to manage, and that timing is deliberate. Because emotionally, she was already unstable. She was frustrated, her cover was slipping, students noticed she was off. Her connection strategy with Aoi was failing. That internal imbalance makes her vulnerable. Muyaki doesn't just isolate her physically, he isolates her at her weakest emotional moment. That's layered predator psychology. And the chapter subtly tells us something else. He stayed out of sight of the entire team. That detail should not be glossed over. Hibari is observant, hyper-aware, tactical. Yet he avoided detection long enough to set this up. That implies one of two things. He is operating at a higher tier of training. He understands their blind spots better than they do. Either possibility escalates the threat ceiling of the series. This is the first time the team's competence is quietly challenged. And now the door locks. The tone shifts immediately. Hibari's guard goes up. Her skylark senses, so to speak, flare. There's a visible change in posture and expression. The performance dissolves. Now we see instinct. This is important because it mirrors the earlier rain contrast. Muyaki thrives in external storm. Yodaka internalizes storm. Hibari now becomes storm. The fight begins suddenly, and immediately she notes his speed, his strength, his decisiveness. She isn't panicked. She's calculating. But then comes the detail that destabilizes her. He was invisible to her team. That isn't just surprise. It's professional insult. A ninja who fails to detect another ninja in proximity has made a serious error. Her confidence fractures slightly here. And as she attempts to reposition, to escape the room, the chapter tightens the vice. The concerned classmate is present. Now the stakes shift. This is no longer a controlled duel. This is exposure risk. And Muyaki reveals his escalation. He draws his weapons. He clarifies intent. He will eliminate both of them. This is where tactical analysis and moral analysis converge. From a purely mission perspective, a civilian witness is liability. Engagement increases exposure. Retreat would preserve strategic integrity. But from a philosophical perspective, especially after Yodaka's words, there's a decision to be made. Muyaki has maneuvered her into a position where her ideology must choose. And the chapter has carefully built to this. This isn't a random moral moment, it's the payoff of the hallway conversation. The skylark who cannot sing now must decide whether she even values the people around her. And the predator waits. We now move into the pivotal choice moment. Spike thrown, shielding the classmate, knocking her unconscious, broken arm, glasses off. The room is sealed, Muyaki has escalated, weapons drawn, intent clarified. He isn't posturing, he states plainly that both Hibari and the classmate will be eliminated. There's no theatrics, no rage, just execution. And this is where the chapter tightens into stillness. The classmate, the same one who had interrupted Hibari earlier in the hallway, is present. Earlier, Hibari treated her as distraction, background noise, civilian variable. Now that variable is standing between her and a clean, tactical disengagement. Muyaki moves first. A spike is thrown, not toward Hibari, toward the classmate. And this is the frame where the chapter slows, because in that instant, Hibari has time. Time to calculate, time to assess, time to decide. From a mission perspective, the cleanest move would be to reposition and continue the duel. A civilian casualty would be tragic, but strategically irrelevant. Exposure risk could even decrease. But the spike travels, and Hibari moves. She intercepts it. Not because it is efficient, not because it benefits the mission, but because she chooses to. This is the first pure ideological deviation from her earlier stance. Earlier in the chapter, she explicitly does not believe in protecting everyone. Yodaka does, and in this moment, his philosophy echoes louder than hers. But the decision doesn't make her soft. It makes her decisive. Immediately after shielding the classmate, she knocks her unconscious. Clean, precise, controlled, no witness, no panic, no hesitation. Protection, but on her terms. This detail is critical. She did not abandon her ninja discipline. She integrated it. That integration is growth, not transformation into Yodaka, not rejection of her training, but synthesis. Then the physical cost reveals itself. Her arm is compromised. The impact registers. Pain is visible. And this is where the symbolism deepens. She now stands, ideologically shifting, physically damaged, outmatched in visible power. And still, she does not retreat. This is not a power-up moment. There is no surge of new ability. There is no hidden technique revealed. Instead, we get something quieter, but narratively stronger. Resolve. And then comes the visual cue. The glasses. She removes them. Slowly. Deliberately. This is not cosmetic. Throughout the chapter, the glasses have been part of her student persona. The approachable, composed, socially fluent Hibari. With them off, that identity falls away. There is no hallway performance here. No Aoi, no classmates, no facade. Just a ninja, one arm injured. Standing between a trained assassin and a civilian she claims not to care about. Muyaki laughs. He calls himself a trained assassin. He suggests they are not on the same level. And here's the tension the chapter leaves us with. He may not be wrong. For the first time in this series, we are not fully confident in the team's superiority. Hibari is not entering this fight from a position of dominance. She is entering it from conviction. And that distinction matters. Because conviction is fragile when it is new. The chapter ends there. Not with victory, not with defeat, but with a question. Was that moment of protection weakness, or the beginning of something stronger? Hibari stands with one arm injured, glasses removed, persona discarded, conviction chosen. Muyaki stands across from her, relaxed, confident, laughing, and this laugh matters, because it's not nervous, it's not defensive, it's evaluative. He doesn't mock her emotionally. He questions her tear. He calls himself a trained ninja assassin. And for the first time in this series, we're forced to consider something larger. What if the team isn't operating at the top level? Up to now, their threats have felt dangerous, but manageable. This feels different. Muyaki avoided detection. He isolated a skilled operative. He controlled terrain. He forced ideological compromise. He inflicted physical damage. And he still appears composed. That's escalation. Not in spectacle, in structure. This chapter quietly expands the power ceiling of the world, and that shift mirrors what we see in other long-form shonen when a larger hierarchy begins to surface, like when Nen users in Hunter x Hunter reveal tiers beyond the protagonist's understanding, or when the ninja world in Naruto suddenly widens beyond local conflicts. Chapter 5 may be that pivot point, because this is no longer just about protecting Aoi. It's about understanding the scale of the threat surrounding her. And Hibari's decision to protect the classmate now has strategic consequences. She is injured. She is alone. She has chosen conviction over efficiency. If she loses here, it validates Muyaki's philosophy. If she wins, it validates Yodaka's. The fight now carries ideological weight, and that's why the chapter ends exactly where it does. No resolution, no technique reveal, just tension. Because the real question isn't, can Hibari fight with one arm? It's, can a skylark who just learned to sing survive a predator who thrives in storms? And if Muyaki truly represents a higher assassin tier, then what does that mean for Yodaka, for Aoi, for the entire team structure? Chapter 6 is no longer just continuation, it's confirmation. Confirmation of power hierarchy, confirmation of ideological direction, confirmation of whether Hibari's shift was evolution or fatal hesitation. If this is the moment where Hibari's identity fractures and reforms, if this is the first true test of the team against a professional assassin tier, then Chapter 6 may redefine the entire trajectory of this arc. So if you want to see whether Hibari's conviction holds, whether Muyaki's confidence is justified, and whether Yodaka's philosophy starts reshaping this team, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Because if Chapter 5 was the storm gathering, Chapter 6 is where lightning strikes.